What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Morrissey, and we're returning for the final track on the 1990 compilation Bona Drag. Luca, what are you doing? And yes, once again, big shout out to Seb, and the final track is Oh Phoney, which feels very dismissive, also a bit amusing. Phony, something which is inauthentic in some way, whether it's literally a forgery or a fake, or whether there's some aspect or attribute or example of its nature, of its behavior, and indeed that could be a person, which is seen as being untruthful or otherwise falsely representing something. So either way, it feels very dismissive. But of course, given Morrissey's songwriting, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a mirror or indeed someone else's expression in the direction of the narrator or character of the song. So I'll have to see what I can catch on the first listen. This is Morrissey. The tune is Oh Phoney, and it's the final track on his 1990 compilation Bona Drag.
May this lovely letter reach its destination, if only. Question one is, why do you pretend that you like me? Oh, Phoney. See how the outside contradicts what's inside. Ooh, who can make Hitler seem like a bus conductor? You do, oh Phoney, you do. You sing a lovely song to scale the words, spell out my name, oh Phoney. But then you kick me down below, 'cause you know it won't show. What's inside? Ooh, who can make Hitler seem like a bus conductor? You do, oh Phoney, you do. You do, oh Phoney, you do. You do, oh Phoney, you do.
Fading already? That's a short one. That's gotta be like 2 minutes long, if that. It's 2:01, so yes, a very short tune, and seemingly a bit of a, it wouldn't surprise me if this is a B-side, in the sense that it really feels like a bit of a joke song, in part because of his vocal delivery, a couple moments of which, and the moment where I laughed notably, it almost sounded like he was doing a Kermit the Frog type of impression. Something about the way he manipulated his voice felt very, turned in and, oddly, like a throat voice or something. So, in any case, it sounds like he is saying that the other person is the phony, but it's because of the way that they're regarding him. Sort of saying nice things and maybe even singing to him, but then kicking him down below. Hopefully he wasn't kicked in a particularly delicate place, but the idea of being kicked, of course, could here be figurative, but saying, you do that because that's not going to show. So, outwardly, you can talk about how you're being affectionate and treating me well, but you're actually really hurting me in a way that other people aren't aware of, but you're doing it. You're a phony. So, yeah, it feels very much like it is in the complicated territory that he often speaks of. Interestingly, I reacted to a Smiths tune, Unlovable, where there was a distinction between the outward appearance and the inward feeling, and it feels like there is a similar sort of dichotomy being presented here, but again, perhaps in a less serious and less pained way, and more in a chiding, I know who you really are, and you're putting on this false front, this facade for other people, even if you treat me badly, below the belt or behind the scenes. So yeah, it's a critical attack on the other person, but it's reflecting what he sees coming his direction from them, but without the false pretense. So it's still a like fitting tune within the larger lyrical context of Morrissey, but one that has a bit more bite to it. It feels a bit more sharpness and a bit less self-deprecation. It's more focused on his attitude toward the other person and the way that they're being a bit Janus-faced. So yeah, sonically it was weird. It like at first it felt kind of like a 60s tune. There was almost like a little flute riff and like a tambourine kind of sound. But then, some really harder and more forceful guitar, which is another thing that fits with the Unlovable Smiths track that I reacted to. And that's a proper name, the actual title of the track. So yeah, over the course of the tune, it felt like it did some different things. And his voice, not just in the Kermit way, but in the sort of, like rapidly rising and falling melodic inflection, even more than the way he typically bends and turns some of his vocal melody over the course of his songs. This one felt like it almost took that to an even like crazier and over the top kind of place. So yeah, the song overall, again, it just felt like a bit crazy and less melancholic and up in his headspace, and just a bit more like, I'm having this kind of manic outburst at you because I feel like you're phony. So again, Seb often puts metadata, so let me just see if I can give a bit more context here. Oh, it's an outtake. It's literally a Bona Drag outtake, so that doesn't surprise me. It feels like a demo where he's kind of like searching after a tune and maybe having a bit of fun with it and seeing, what'll get out there and what might be able to develop or work with into a fuller song. So that actually doesn't surprise me by that description at all, in part because it was so short and also just because of his, vocal delivery and just the overall zany feel of it. And not only was his vocal, rising and falling very rapidly and erratically, but there were a couple moments where it felt like a weird accent, and also there was a bit of echo and so on. So it felt like he was really toying with a demo there. So in any case, a very cool compilation. I enjoyed going through that in the moment. I don't remember what, if anything else, I have at my disposal. Once again, big shout out to Seb for sharing a great wealth of music. Let me know what you think of this one, and I will see you next time. Peace.